The last-ditch efforts by the leadership of the National Assembly to avert a planned indefinite nationwide strike on Monday by organized labor failed on Sunday night after 4 hours of deliberations, with labor refusing to call off the strike. President of the Senate, Bazuaye, had appealed to the workers to suspend the strike to allow for both parties to return to the negotiation table. Responding on behalf of the leadership of the labor unions, President of Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, roundly turned down the appeal of the National Assembly to call off the planned strike. He said the planned strike is on course as labor leaders cannot reach the decision without consulting with the various organs of both the Nigeria Labour Congress, the NLC and the TUC at the state levels.
I'm happy, but it is not possible for us to sit here and call off any industrial action because there are condition precedents given to us by our neck. We would have been much more happier if this evening that the issues of we have a great understanding that by tomorrow morning we will sign off issues bordering on the minimum wage, because before we, as at the last meeting, we were very, very close to signing off. I mean, close in the sense that if the figures were right, it's just to prepare a report and sign, so it's not something that is that lengthy anymore. But we have listened to them. We would take all their plea to our organs, and we would have an organs meeting taking what they have promised and the pleas that they have made to our organs. For now, we don't have the powers to call off the industrial action, so the industrial action will continue while we would have a conversation with our respective organs as soon as possible to lay bare what they have put forward and what they have proposed.
Bazuaye, Rise correspondent, just back from the National Assembly, is here to bring us up to speed with what exactly happened at the emergency meeting. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So this meeting lasted all of 4 hours and still no positive resolution was reached. It will take more than an appeal by the President of the Senate to get Labour to rescind on that planned strike. You know,
discussions around this issue of new minimum wage has been on for quite a while, and federal government setting up a tripartite committee to see how they can go into it, with Labour insisting, first of all, initially around 650,000, which a lot of Nigerians believe is outrageous.
Right.
But Labour says the condition of the country has made them to push their benchmark, that minimum wage at that particular level. But in the last couple of months, we've seen both sides, Labour coming down and federal government also moving up from an initial, reluctant position of maybe 45 to 47 to 54 to now 60, which Labour says it's ridiculously.
Did government put anything on the table
today?
The President of the Senate, I mean. Yeah, the National Assembly. Did they put any figure on the table at all that the Labour, would go back to consult with their, members?
Not at all, apart from what the Minister of Information had said yesterday about the fact that the last position of Labour, which is 494, would actually put a huge additional burden on the current wage bill being paid by the federal government. But what that means is that, and it says it's going to amount to about 9.5 trillion naira. Nigeria is going to have find another 9.5 trillion naira in addition to the current wage bill, which government says is going to be too heavy on it. But today, as they went into that particular meeting, well, the National Assembly made it clear that they were on the side of both parties and that they were just trying to find a way of
a common ground
between both of them, But there wasn't any amount of suggestion thrown open there by the National Assembly.
But there was an offer from Tajuddin Abbas, the Speaker of the House of Reps, saying the 35,000 wage award should
No.
continue, should be extended?
No.
Is that a such thing? Okay.
That was part of the outcome of the 4 hours of deliberation, which is was a frank discussion with everything being laid on the table between both parties. But at the end of which we were told by the speakers that the two parties were able to agree that there is this 35,000 wage award that the federal government introduced October last year, but somehow was stopped in February this year. That is about just a space of 3 months. So the both parties agree, according to the speaker, that the federal government should go back, to that particular arrangement, continue to pay that amount of money, that wage award, until that time when a reasonable amount of what can be accepted as the national minimum wage, can be reached. But as it is today, as this moment, I can't tell you about maybe the next 2 hours. No agreement was reached on national minimum wage, and Labour says its strike, which is slated for tomorrow, remains.
Midnight tonight, actually.
Yes.
How did Labour respond to this 35,000 naira wage award, that Tajuddin Abbas talks about, that there's a need for government to extend it? Did Labour take that well?
Well, it's something that Labour had always welcomed, have accepted, okay? So, but in the middle of a very tough, difficult negotiations, while maybe federal government is trying to look for time to buy, it's still an acceptable proposition to continue paying the 35,000 naira, but I don't know to what extent, how long the federal government can keep doing that, and then how well also the Labour can also be patient to await government coming out with what can be
acceptable.
Yes, an acceptable minimum wage for the country. But it's a very dicey situation for both sides.
It is. It is, not just for both sides, for all Nigerians, if this strike goes on tomorrow. Bazuaye, you'll be keeping an eye on developments. Thanks for joining us on Newsnet and helping us understand exactly what happened today at that meeting.
Thank you so much.